welcome to the September 6, 2023 Town Board meeting. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Jeff Moynihan, First Ward. Bill Carlo, Second Ward.
Ann Berger, 3rd Ward.
Michael Safone, 4th Ward. Stefan Krakauer, 5th Ward.
Ann Schurshin, 6th Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, Attorney for the town.
John Bailey, Town Supervisor. Welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. On tonight's agenda, first item is a public hearing, Town Code Amendment, Chapter 195, stop intersections, Lafco Drive and Colonial Knolls. 2 is a public hearing, Town Code Amendment, zoning text, South Hill Center, extra space storage. 3 is a public hearing on Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2. 4 is a resolution on base proportions. 5 is appoint Kevin Herrera as a police officer. 6, appoint David Sager as a police officer. 7 is accept a donation from the PBA of Police K-9 Kenya. Appoint Terrence O'Haron as school crossing guard. Appoint Susan Menard as school crossing guard. Approve cider mill tasting event at Kimberlin Cider Mill. 11, set a date for a public hearing on special districts. 12, appoint Vanderweer miscellaneous tax matters. 13, resolutions, Page Park Transportation Corporation, Waterworks and Sewer Works. 14, resolution, Poughkeepsie Industrial Sewage Works Transportation Corporation. 15, a resolution, Beacon Residential, 297 Violet Avenue. 16, waive the 30-day liquor license for Barbu, 30 Eastdale, Buns and Burgers, 32 Eastdale. 17, authorize an auction for surplus vehicles and equipment. 18, approve Hudson Valley Animal Rescue Fall Festival. 19, approve the Braga 5K Run Walk at Vassar College. 20, authorize stormwater easement and agreement all space storage. 21, appoint David Seymour as Deputy Building Inspector. 22, appoint electrical inspectors. 23, appoint Andrew Richwine as an auto mechanic. 24, notification of claim, refer to legal, Hernandez versus the town of Poughkeepsie. SC1, notice of claim, refer to legal, for Schenko versus the town of Poughkeepsie. With that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item on the agenda, except for the public hearings. Second. And ask anybody to please limit it to 3 minutes. Doreen?
Thanks, Jake. Okay, Jake, can you give an explanation on number 4 about the base proportions? Because you voted on them at a previous meeting, they were changed at a previous meeting. Now it looks like they're being changed again, so can you give a quick explanation on that, please?
As we know, during the last meeting, Doreen, they were changed, and the assessor at that point had appointments still with the state because she felt there was something wrong and she couldn't find it, and the state couldn't find it, so they went back, they met again, and they found the mistake. It was just somebody transposed one of the numbers, which threw everything off on somewhere between where we sent it in, it went through the 2 different state offices, so it was corrected. This is now the true number.
Did it affect only a particular one? Like, was it only Spack&Kill?
No.
Yes,
Oh, what?
yeah, it's only Spack&Kill
Oh, I
School
thought
District.
mine went up a little.
Correct, Doreen.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else that would like to discuss an item on the agenda? If not, I'd like to make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to move number 5, 6, and 7 up to 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Carlos.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Kevin Herrera to the position of full-time police officer under the provisions of the Civil Service Law at the starting yearly salary of $65,760.72 per year, effective September 11th, 2023, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 26 nor more than 52 weeks per civil service law. Be it further resolved that the supervisors are authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations.
I, Kevin Herrera,
I, Kevin Herrera,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties
the
of
of
police officer for the town of Poughkeepsie
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities. Thank you so much.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint David Sager to the position of full-time police officer under the provisions of civil service law at the starting yearly salary of $65,760.72, effective September 11th, 2023, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 26 nor more than 52 weeks per civil service law. And be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, David Sager,
I, David Sager,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
police officer for the town of Poughkeepsie
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Be it resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the acceptance with appreciation from the Town of Poughkeepsie Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, a 15-month-old police canine German Shepherd named Kenya, valued at $10,000. So moved.
Get a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Welcome aboard, Kenya.
It's just a puppy.
I could have at least given him a clue.
Be enacted the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant
Hold on,
to...
Stefan. We have the public hearings.
What's that?
Make a motion to open public hearing number 1,
Second.
intersections Lafco Drive and Colonial Knolls.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there anybody here to discuss Lafco Drive and Colonial Knolls stop signs? If not, motion to close public hearing number 1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Stefan.
Be enacted the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to a duly noticed public hearing held on September 6, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Rock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York. Does it hereby amend Town Code Chapter 195 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, specifically Section 195-44, Schedule 9, stop intersections with language to be added underlined and language to be deleted stricken as follows. Add stop signs on Colonial Knolls East at Lafco Drive. Add stop sign
on LAFCO Drive North at Colonial Knolls intersection, add stop sign at LAFCO Drive South at Colonial Knolls intersection, and be it enacted that the legal notice of public hearings was posted on August 15th, 2023, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on August 21, 2023, and be it further enacted that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does determine that this action is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review, and be it further enacted that said local law shall become effective immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
There a motion second, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. That brings us to public hearing number 2, South Hills Mall Center, extra space self-storage. Make a motion to open that public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good evening. My name is John First. I'm an attorney at Catania Mann and Ryder in Newburgh, New York. I represent the applicant, DLC, as well as the property owner, which is a subsidiary, South Hills Owner LLC. I have here with me tonight Greg Oceans of DLC, from the property owner. Also remotely participating is Amy from LRC, and if Amy can just pull up the latest rendering of the proposed facility. So just to give the board a little introduction, I'll try to be brief. We were here back in May. We submitted a petition to request a zoning text amendment to the existing regulations covering the South Hills Center. Originally, we proposed 2 zoning text amendments. One was in connection with allowing self-storage as an adaptive reuse via special use permit from the planning board. The other zoning text amendment concerned some flexibility with respect to any potential future subdivisions of the property. The board had referred the matter to the planning board. We appeared before the planning board in July, I believe it was. The planning board had issued a negative declaration under SECRA. But during that process with the planning board, we withdrew the request for the flexible subdivision regulations, and we're just moving forward with the self-storage aspect. So I just want to make that clear. We're just moving forward for the self-storage component. We believe self-storage is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan calls to reimagine opportunity areas such as the South Hills Mall. It's quite clear, especially since COVID-19, that the era of brick and mortar stores is decreasing and is on the decline. The idea is to have an opportunity area, and we're looking to take advantage of this opportunity. The South Hills Mall is underutilized. According to your comp plan, it calls for the utilization of underutilized sites. Allowing development at this vacant Burlington Coat Factory building, which has been vacant for about 4 years now, so it's not something that's been recent, but allowing the use would preserve open space, which is also consistent with your comprehensive plan. Your comprehensive plan also says that you should take advantage of existing infrastructure where we have the water, sewer, and roads already in place. Finally, the comprehensive plan does call for the expansion of commercial uses, and it's not just limited to residential and recreational. I know some folks are fixated on those 2 aspects, and those are important to the mall owner, and the mall owner definitely wants to incorporate those at some point in the future. However, the comprehensive plan also calls for more restaurant, retail, and service commercial uses. So it calls for a mix of commercial uses, not just residential and not just recreational or experiential uses. The redevelopment that we're proposing right now is just the back building. It's not going to hinder or impact any future development for residential uses. Again, it's just redeveloping an existing building and repurposing it for a self-storage facility. We've provided numerous examples of where self-storage has been incorporated into existing shopping centers and malls. We think it will work nicely, as shown by the examples we have provided. The commercial use is consistent. The commercial use that we're proposing is consistent with the surrounding uses. I know there's been some claims of spot zoning out there. We're not looking to rezone this parcel industrial. That would obviously be spot zoning because there are no industrial uses or zones in the area. All we're looking to do is add a commercial use to an area along Route 9 where there's many other similar commercial uses. It's consistent with the surrounding areas. Again, there's very limited site development. We're not barely changing the site plan. The parking, the access is all going to pretty much remain the same. So again, it will not hinder any future residential or recreational development that could come to the mall. The owner is actively seeking a residential development partner. They specialize in malls and shopping centers. They're looking to partner with a residential developer to collectively put together a redevelopment plan for the entire site. I think it's a little premature at this point because they haven't lined up a specific residential developer, but they are actively working on it. They've talked to a few residential developers. All of them are aware of our proposal right here to convert the Burlington Coat Factory to a self-storage facility. All of them felt it complemented what they would be proposing and looking to do at the site. So there is some consistency, and again, what we're asking for today is not going to impact any future projects or development at the site. Without that residential developer's input, I would say that it's actually premature to actually spend a lot of time and effort to put a concept plan together, because we can work on that. But once a residential development comes on board, they might not like what we're proposing. So I think it makes sense to wait till they have a residential developer to come in collectively with the mall owner and put together a master plan for the site. Again, we hope to have somebody lined up soon. They've been actively talking to a couple of developers, but right now the focus tonight is just a minor zoning text amendment to allow self-storage only as an adaptive reuse, only via special use permit before the planning board. So we are here for any questions or comments the board may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to discuss this project?
Good evening, Supervisor, members of the town board. Jennifer Gray, an attorney representing my client, who's a nearby property owner at 1998 South Road, just up the street from the South Hills Mall. We submitted a letter last week with our concerns about the proposed local law to allow self-storage as an infill development, as an adaptive reuse. I'd like to just summarize a couple of our main points. I'm not going to reiterate the whole letter, but just want to summarize a couple
I
of
will
points.
put the whole letter in the record, just so you know.
Thank you so much, thank you. So our first point is that we believe this particular local law is inconsistent with your recently adopted 2021 comprehensive plan, particularly as it relates to this property. I know there's been a lot of discussion about how infill development is generally a good smart growth principle. While that is the case, you can't ignore the type of use that's being proposed for the infill. The type of use has to be consistent with the comprehensive plan, not just the method of implementing that use. So the 2021 comprehensive plan does identify this as an opportunity area, as Mr. First identified. It recommends that the town incentivize infill development at these underutilized sites, including the South Hills shops. But it goes on to say that the non-residential uses that are allowed in the district should be reviewed and supplemented to include more experiential uses, and it provides a whole list of types of experiential uses, as well as restaurants, retail, office, and service commercial uses. Now, petitioner has suggested that the self-storage use should be viewed as a service commercial use that is referenced in the comprehensive plan. We disagree with that. We also note that the county planning department has also disagreed with that and noted in their June 21st letter that the assumption that this use would fall under that category does not align with existing town policy, and recent self-storage projects have been treated as warehouse and storage rather than service. And they list, for example, the Diamond Point project or the Love Road project. And they say, in our view, that is the more appropriate general category. The applicant has also said in their August 29th letter that they provided examples of self-storage uses that have been integrated with other shopping centers in a successful way, but the comp plan doesn't want a shopping center here. The comp plan wants a more mixed use neighborhood, more of an experiential development. Now, going back to the comprehensive plan, the comprehensive plan also provides a model for development of this site, as I'm sure you're aware. It designated the subject building as residential. I just want to check, do I have a time limit on my comments?
We ask people to keep them to 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. I'm going to try to summarize as quickly as I can to my last couple points. I do urge you to reread the county's comment letter because I think it is important and we echo their concerns with respect to the self-storage use. We also note that nothing in the proposed law would prevent the property owner from leasing up other buildings at the shopping center or portions thereof for self-storage, potentially tying up a vast amount of square footage at the shopping center for self-storage, which we posit is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. The last point I want to make, because I know my time is running short, is that we are concerned about whether the proper procedural steps have been taken to allow you to act on this local law tonight. I note that the applicant's submission included the revised draft local law that excludes the subdivision portion of the local law. As I'm sure you're aware, and your council is aware, that the New York Municipal Home Rule Law requires the final form of the local law to be on your desk within a certain amount of days before you act on it. The shortest possible time is 7 days, and it excludes Sundays, excludes the day you're provided the local law, and excludes the date of adoption. So if you were provided with the local law on August 29th, that would be insufficient time to act on it tonight. So as I'm sure you know, and your council has advised, you have very broad legislative discretion when it comes to zoning laws. You're not required to even consider petitioner's request, and certainly have broad discretion to reject it. One significant limitation is it has to be consistent with the comprehensive plan, and we obviously submit that it does not. So we would urge you tonight to reject petitioner's proposed local law and seek counsel as to whether or not you have the authority to act on it tonight pursuant to municipal home rule law. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to discuss this public hearing? No?
So I looked at the county's letter, and
Go on, Stephen.
I looked at the county's letter, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes really good points. And it almost sort of says it's putting the cart before the horse with this project. When the applicant spoke, he talked about preserving open space. I don't even understand what that is other than putting it into an existing building versus putting it onto some vacant piece of land maybe. But
Right.
I mean, it's not really open space preservation. I mean,
It's
so
it's
that should-
diverting construction to an existing site.
Okay, but it's not. I mean, it's not open space preservation the way I see it. I mean, you could call it all kinds of things, but it doesn't really make it so. The service, commercial use, self-storage doesn't even remotely sound like a service use to me. It's storage. So where the county considers it to be more like warehouse than service, that does also make a lot of sense. When you take that and you put it into what's supposed to be hopefully a thriving town center type of development, it also doesn't seem like a great idea. I didn't even think about the fact that you could do even more self-storage there and make it, I haven't seen that where it's like a self-storage mall, but that would be, I don't know if that's good, bad, or something in between, but it's self-storage. If we're looking at something that we want to be a mixed-use development, more self-storage would be problematic. It also, there's not a lot of jobs, I think, with this type of use, so it's not really creating much in the way of jobs. The idea that it's not going to impact any future development, it is. I mean, it absolutely is. By approving this on the front end, it definitely would impact future development on the site, because if you put a large self-storage as an anchor tenant in a mall, it's going to impact who else comes. Whenever any of these national tenants come into an area, they want to know who else is there. They want to know if their competitors there or not there. They want to know what other types of uses are there, complementary or conflicting. So putting this in would definitely impact the future development of that property. I like to think that our town is a really nice place to be and we can make it better and better. To me, this doesn't go to that extent. This doesn't accomplish that goal. It could, if you had residential, if you had some restaurants, if you had some other things, it could be exactly what we'd all love to see. But just leading with self-storage doesn't give me any kind of warm feeling that we're heading that direction. It makes me worried that we're just grabbing low-hanging fruit. And I get, everybody wants to build specific things in specific times, and they always say, this is the only thing you can build right now, and we need to build, and this is the only thing you can build right now. Sometimes maybe you just don't build right now if it's something that doesn't fit. I think there's actually towns that have put moratoriums in place for self-storage, which I never even considered, I wouldn't consider it here, but that actually, to me, seems to indicate that towns have felt that too much self-storage units become problematic for the town and its development and its commercial base. And then you also mentioned a master plan for the site, and kind of talking about all these different things would be premature until you get a residential developer. That's kind of what I feel like the county is saying, is that this is premature until you get an actual master plan of the site where you have all those pieces that are starting to fit together. Pulling out the idea that you could just kind of subdivide it and chop it up makes me more comfortable, because it's less likely that it'll be done haphazardly. But when you had that idea on the table, it just seemed like this thing would get chopped up, it would look horrible, it would be, that property 10 years from now would be potentially a mess, because it's more likely to end up that way than as a comprehensive development if it's chopped up and sold off to different people or different developers. So I think this idea could have merit, but not right now. And I think it's a bad idea to pass this at this point in time, because it's not moving the needle in the positive direction necessarily. At best, it would be neutral. At worst, it would be damaging a property that we need that property to come online in a good way over time. And it would be, we need to figure out new and better ways to develop our town, with things like this being the lead of the property. I don't think we're doing that. So I'm not in favor of approving this at this point.
Anybody else have comment?
Yeah, I think Stefan's really spot on with this thing. What seems to be happening, and I'm not a builder or a developer, well, if the building is there and we can't do anything, we can always make it self-storage. We could have self-storage kind of our eyeballs, and it wrecks the mall, the business, the traffic. When there's self-storage, people aren't coming in and going out. They go when they have to go to get the Christmas decorations, and they go back, and it's counterproductive for a town that wants to stay alive and keep going. It's just a stopper in the bottle. So I can't support doing that. South Hills Mall is a perfect shopping center. Good spot, good place. We have several of them. To turn them all into self-storage means the town of Poughkeepsie becomes the self-storage center of the county of Dutchess. And I don't think that that's healthy for the town. I really don't think it. I see it as, if I was the builder, I was the owner, and I can't get anybody to rent it, and I can't do anything else, self-storage. Pays the rent, no tenants, I got no problems. Self-storage. How many times have we seen that? And each time we do it, it's a negative hit to the town. We need businesses, people coming to businesses, spending their money, shopping, going wherever they're going. People don't come to storage centers except to put stuff in and take stuff out. Christmas time? So I would be opposed to that with Stefan.
Anybody else got comments?
Well, I think overall, Bill, I think your self-storage is a good idea for certain locations, just not this location.
See, I feel like I said, I agree with what Stefan said. When we looked at this plan, comprehensive plan in first place, it was showing the multifamily there, it was showing restaurants there, it was showing, the possibility of even a drive-in movie theater there, walkable stuff. Then I can see the storage being accessory or a service to those that have the multifamily there, because it's easier for them, because most of the time they look for extra space. But I agree that if it's just this alone right now without the other features around there, we can be asking for trouble. If that other stuff doesn't come to fruition, then it can really deteriorate what that mall can have.
So this is kind of a baby step to get to that other larger scheme where, again, we've already reached out and talked to residential developers and they all felt like what we were proposing now complements what they would like to do at the site. So, you know, I don't think it's the end all to end all, but I think it's a small step in the right direction. I don't think it's a big step, but I think it's a small step to help redevelop the mall, to have the self-storage and the residential components, they can work with each other. And to get to some of the other points, we're only asking to get it to be approved by special use permit. So there is discretion with the planning board as far as, you know, if people are worried about the entire mall converting over to a self-storage city, that's not gonna happen because the planning board has discretion on all the applications as far as whether they wanna grant it or not.
But a special use permit will set a precedent which has to be followed once you set it. So once they approve it, once they approve it, you create a situation where you're gonna need to approve similar situated.
It has to be exactly the same situation, but every situation is different. Again, this one is the back of the mall.
Yeah, and this one's at the back of the mall. It's not gonna be standing out in front. So it's really not gonna
It's
be.
at the back and the front. Because
at the
it's
back of the
also
property.
accessible, well, you can see it from if you go right down the center
Right,
of the mall too, it's right there.
yeah.
And the mall was on the right track, I thought, when they opened it up and made it kind of more an outdoor mall where you could park out front and started to create, it was headed in the right direction. That's what I say, it's headed in the right direction. This does nothing to get
But
there.
how does redeveloping the Burlington Coat Factory impact the opening up and the walkability that's already started with the mall? I mean, there's no impact to the dynamics, the walkability, everything that's in the comprehensive plan. There's nothing that's going to go counter to that.
Well, you said it in the
Excuse me,
council.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. We're not something's not connecting here. Self-storage. People bring stuff in and they leave. They don't shop, they don't go into the restaurants because there's none there. What's there is a big building full of other people's stuff.
And
That may not be healthy for our town and in that location. I realize the economic drive for the property owner. You have tenants, they pay rent. That could be what's way down underneath all the rest of this stuff. I have to, unfortunately, look for the whole town. And the self-storage, that big?
I'll go as far as Jeff was discussing, when we first met the first time, self-storage came in, but there was a package that came with that. I think we need to see the whole package to what's gonna be there. Self-storage could be great. I've always said, a lot of the other complexes have opened up, they should have their own component of a self-storage because there's nothing better than going out to your own garage, which you don't have. This is a different way to do it. But I think we need to see the component. I know when I walked out with Jeff, I said it was very vague. I thought the self-storage wasn't a bad idea. Self-storage was a good bumper up against the back end of all the other commercial pieces, the shop rates and stuff, where it all was a positive. But we really need to see what the whole package was. I think Mr. Carlos brought up last time, is it apartments, is it condos, is it townhouses? What is the whole package? And I don't think we should offset and get locked in for one item. You know, and I'm not against the self-storage piece there, but I think we need to see the whole plan before we make a decision on where we go forward with, is my opinion.
I agree.
And when you mentioned impact is the key. Like, you want impact. We don't want everywhere to have a ton of traffic in our town, but the malls that are already existing should have traffic. There should be impact. And what the councilman said basically is there is no impact. I don't have self-storage unit. My wife makes me throw stuff away. She doesn't allow me to accumulate enough to start moving it out of the house into another location. But that being said, a self-storage unit, you go to put stuff in and then you go to take it out. I don't see that as a thing where you're drawing foot traffic and business into a commercial area. And a mall is a commercial area where you actually want foot traffic. You want people to drive in, park, and shop. And like I said, I thought the South Hills Mall was heading the right direction when they opened it up and changed the way it was, because the Galleria was the bigger indoor mall in the area, and the South Hills Mall was reinventing itself. So maybe down the road on the back end of a project, it would fit, but on the front end, it has no impact other than it fills a space, but it doesn't fill a space with anything that's going to draw people to that area. And it is, when you come into that, it's sort of a boulevard, and Burlington Coat Factory is in the middle of that boulevard. So now you have self-storage in the middle of the boulevard, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. All that traffic would go around to the back, I would presume, because you're not going to park further away, drag your stuff through down that boulevard area. You'd park in the back. So it almost cuts off traffic. The people going in there wouldn't be shopping up front, it seems. It would have the opposite impact. So
Well, there are examples, again, that we showed with other malls and shopping centers where self-storage was incorporated within a shopping center. I guess the alternative is to have a vacant building where you have no traffic, you know. But I guess I would ask the
We're trying
board
to
to
plan
table.
of what the whole plan is gonna be, is I think
Right.
what I would like to see is where, you know, you said you have a retail, residential developer out there, to have him come in and start that
Well, we
process.
don't, I mean, we've been talking,
Yeah.
so we don't have
Okay.
anything concrete, we don't have anything lined up at this point, so, you know, I don't know when that's gonna happen, so that's the concern, is we're basically being held up on this end because, you know, we were trying to do it right with the residential developer and make sure we have a good plan and make sure we have a good partner, but it seems like it's gonna work against us. So I would ask that the board just table the decision at this point, you know, and we can come back at a later time.
Yeah, and if you allow me to make a suggestion, I hear there's a huge demand for pickleball courts, and they're converting former J.C. Penney stores into pickleball courts. So,
that's,
Anybody got
not sure
more?
that's going to try.
that might work.
I think we should make a motion to
table.
table it.
Motion to table.
Second.
The table or close the public hearing first?
Oh,
Motion to close the public hearing first.
And table till an unknown date?
Sure.
All those in
To a
favor?
future date.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. What do you say, Jim?
Do you want this on for a certain date or not?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to public hearing number
So
3.
number 3?
Yep, Arlington Sewer Improvement Area. Make a motion to open public hearing number 3.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody here to discuss Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2? If not, motion to close public hearing?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Whereas a map, plan, and report have been duly prepared in such a manner, in such detail as to heretofore been determined by the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, relating to the construction of certain sewer improvements to serve a benefited area in said town to be known as the Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2, consisting of the replacement of the existing Spackenkill pump station with a new pump station installed on the site north of the existing pump station, including original finishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, acupuncturists, as well as other incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewith, at a maximum estimated cost of $11,728,000. And whereas said map, plan, and report have been prepared by competent engineers duly licensed by the state of New York and have been filed in the office of the town clerk where they are available for public inspection. And whereas said capital project has been determined, which determination is thereby reaffirmed to be a type 2 action pursuant to the regulations of New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, promulgate pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and implementation of which is proposed in such will not result in a significant environmental impact due to an order of consent with the State Department of Environmental Conservation. And whereas the area of the town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, to be benefited thereby shall be bounded and described and set forth in Appendix A, annexed hereto and made a part hereof, and as depicted in the aforesaid map should be known as the Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2, and whereas it is proposed that the cost of the aforesaid improvement shall be borne by the lands benefited thereby by accessing, levying upon, and collecting from the several lots and parcels of land set within the Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2, outside of any villages which the town board shall be determined and specify to be especially benefited by the improvements and amount sufficient to pay debt service, including principal and interest on any obligations issued pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law to finance the cost of aforesaid improvements, and whereas said cost shall be authorized to be financed by the insurance by the town of its serial bonds with a maximum maturity not to exceed the 40-year period prescribed by the local finance laws, and whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie duly adopted an order on August 2nd, 2023, calling a public hearing upon said plan, report, and map, and the question of providing the sewer improvement to be known as Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2, such public hearing to be held on the 6th day of September 2023 at 7:00 p.m. prevailing time at the Town Hall, 1 over Rockaroo Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, in said town, at which time and place all persons interested in the subject thereof could be heard and concerning the same, and whereas set notice of said public hearing was duly posted and published as required by law, and whereas the public hearing was duly held at the place and at the time aforesaid, with all persons interested in the subject thereof were heard concerning the same, and whereas it is now desired to authorize the improvement to be known as Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County, New York, as follows. Section 1. It is hereby determined that it is in the public's interest to establish said Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2 and to make the sewer improvement hereinafter described, and such Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2 is hereby established and authorized at the maximum estimated cost of $11,728,000, subject to the approval of the Office of the State Comptroller thereto. The proposed area hereby determined to be benefited said by Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2 is as set forth in Appendix A, annexed hereto, and hereby made part of hereof. Section 2. The proposed improvement shall consist of the construction of certain sewer improvements consisting of the replacement of the existing Spack-and-Kill pump station with a new pump station installed to a site north of the existing pump station, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, acupumpments, as well as other incidental improvements and expenses in connection thereof, at a maximum estimated cost of $11,728,000. The method of financing of said cost shall be by the issuance of serial bonds of said town to mature in annual installments over a period not exceeding 40 years, and such bonds shall be paid from assessments levied upon and collected from several lots and parcels of land deemed benefit from said improvement and located in said benefit area outside of any villages, so much upon and from each as shall be in just proportion of the amount of the benefit which the improvement shall confer upon the same. But if not paid from such sources, all the taxable real property in said town shall be subject to a levy of an ad valorem taxes not without limitation as to rate or amount sufficient to pay the principal of and the interest of said bonds as the same shall come due and payable. Section 3. It's hereby determined that the estimated expense of the aforestated improvement does not exceed 0.1% of the full valuation of the taxable real property in the area of said town outside of any villages, and therefore, in accordance with the provisions of subject 13 of section 209-Q of the town law, the permission of the state comptroller shall be required for such improvement. Pursuant to Division 13B of Section 209-Q of the town law, the town clerk is directed and ordered to file certified copies of this resolution in the office of the State Department of Audit and Control, together with an application for the approval of the state comptroller to the provision of the sewer improvement as described hereof, such application to be executed and verified by the supervisor and to be completed in the form and to contain such information should prescribed by the state comptroller. Section 4, pursuant to Division 6D of Section 209-Q of the town law, the town clerk is hereby directed and ordered to cause certified copies of this resolution to be duly recorded in the office of the clerk of the County of Dutchess, New York, within 10 days of the receipt of the approval of the state comptroller, which, when so recorded, shall be presumptive evidence of the regulatory and the proceedings and actions taken by the town board in relation to the aforesaid improvements. Section 5, it is hereby further determined that all the costs of the aforesaid improvement shall be borne by the property within the Arlington Sewer Improvement Area 2, which does not constitute all the area of said town outside of any villages, and therefore this resolution shall not be subject to a permissive referendum.
And I apologize for not structuring this in the more economical form.
Yeah, well, we all know you're getting paid by the word. All right, the question of adoption, the foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote on the roll, which results as follows.
Before you do the call, Felicia, right at the end of what Ms. Shershin just read, it should say the foregoing public interest resolution having been moved by Councilwoman Ann Shershin and seconded by.
Who's gonna second it?
Bill Carlos.
Bill Carlos.
I wrote it down, but I didn't see a spot that asked for it, so thank you.
Yeah, I kind of skipped over the beginning. Okay,
No, it didn't say it in green, so that's okay. Councilman Renahan.
Aye.
Councilman Carlos.
Aye.
Councilwoman Berger.
Aye.
Councilman Safone.
Aye.
Councilman Krakauer.
Aye.
Councilwoman Shershin.
Aye.
Supervisor Baisley.
Aye.
And I'm gonna just pass this around for everybody to sign, if you can give it back.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Just want to make two statements with this. This is through a DEC consent order, so we have to have it planned out and designed by the end of next year. And also, we've gotten close to $4 million in grants for this project already.
Awesome.
it's really good.
Step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby rescind Resolution 816, number 11 of 2023, due to corrected base proportions. And be it further resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby accept and adopt the current base proportions as follows. Town, 58.89656 homestead, 41.10344 non-homestead. Town outside the village, 56.41800 non-homestead, 43.58200. Consolidated light, 60.02277, non-homestead 39.97723. Spackenkill School District 52.01081, non-homestead 47.98920. Arlington School, homestead 68.28299, non-homestead 31.71771. Wappinger School District, homestead 71.35688, non-homestead 28.64321. Be it further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adopt and certify adjusted base proportions as follows. Town homestead 58.58792, non-homestead 41.41208. Town outside the village 56.13683, non-homestead 43.86317. Consolidated light 59.78359, non-homestead 40.21641, Spackenkill School District homestead 51.73002, non-homestead 48.26998, Arlington School homestead 68.93418, non-homestead 31.06582, Wappinger School District homestead 69.71473, non-homestead 30.28527. So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on those?
Yeah, I just like to point out that the Spack and Kill change is a drastic difference from what it was really proposed. And I'd also like to thank Herman Lowe, who's a town resident, who actually had flagged this originally when it came out a week or two or whatever. He had looked at the numbers, flagged it, so it's nice to see people are paying attention. It's nice to see that this has gotten corrected. And Spack and Kill actually, for the first time, and as long as I can remember, the homestead portion has gone down with the adjusted base. And Wappingers, it looks like, has gone down also. So that is a good thing for people who are trying to pay their own proper taxes.
A good portion of Wappingers, if you look at it, Wappingers goes from Spackenkill Road all the way down. The only commercial Wappingers is basically the strip of 9 from Coles, just about up to the end of Sheaf Road. And the rest of it is all residential. And Spackenkill has that one big section for Spackenkill School District. So, they can swing because Wappingers incorporates so many different towns. It's a little different. Spackenkill is the only one that totally consists of the town of Poughkeepsie. And Jennifer had also flagged it, and we called the superintendent of Spackenkill. He called us and spoke to him. She was, not to say arguing, but she was working with it on the state level, but was trying to get it to go through. But it took a long time to find one transposed number between the 3 different offices. Was what did it. She kept saying it wasn't right when she came up, so glad we've solved that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Terrence O'Heron to the position of part-time school crossing guard with the police department at the salary of $12.50 per hour, effective September 11, 2023, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 or more than 26 weeks for civil service law. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Susan Menard to the position of part-time school crossing guard with the police department at the salary of $12.50 per hour, effective September 11th, 2023, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per civil service law. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Whereas the town board, the town of Poughkeepsie has heretofore received an application submitted by Cider Mill Friends of Open Space and Historic Preservation Incorporated to hold the 11th annual Old Fashioned Cider Tasting Event at the historic Kimlin Cider Mill, Cedar Avenue, Poughkeepsie, New York, on Saturday, October 14th, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board, town of Poughkeepsie, hereby approve the application as submitted for said event to be held on Saturday, October 14th, 2023, between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. and hereby waive all permit fees relating to the Old Fashioned Cider Tasting Event pursuant to the request received by Lisa Weiss, President, a copy of which is attached. So moved.
Second.
Here, a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstention.
Motion passes 6, 1 abstention.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the 27th day of September 2023 at 7:00 p.m. at the town hall, town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Overrock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as and for the time, date, and place of a public hearing in regard to the special district assessment roll, which concerns water districts, sewer districts, and drainage districts of the town of Poughkeepsie. And be it further resolved that said proposed special district budgets will be on file in the town of Poughkeepsie clerk's office on Thursday, September 7th, 2023, available for review. So moved.
Second.
Here, a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Just want everybody to remember, this is that special notice everybody gets in the mail. So if somebody calls, people are always worried about what's going on. please direct them on how they can find out, and they can look at all the districts that they're interested in.
The legal notice also states September 15th. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I do have the numbers already. I just don't have the thing from the comptroller. But we have till the 15th by law. So
Right.
the legal notice has already been sent. I don't know if you want to amend that or not, but I should say the legal notice is in process of being printed. It hasn't been sent. But see where it says it's on file in the town clerk's office on September 7th? It actually should be the 15th.
15?
So make an amendment to
Change
amend the
it to
date
the
to September 15th. So moved.
Do you have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
And all in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye. As
Aye.
amended? Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby assign the following tax certiorari proceedings recently filed to Kyle W. Bartlett Esquire of Vanderwater LLP to represent the town at an hourly rate of $225. So moved.
Second.
Get a motion, a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Just look at the list that's on here. This just shows you how many, when they show up at the end, that are usually worked out or taken care of or pushed away at the point, before you can get to it. Is it mine? Yes. Whereas Page Park Associates LLC, Page Park, submitted a letter petition seeking consent from the town board and the town superintendent of highways to incorporate Waterworks and Sewerworks Transportation Corporations to service the 16 commercial parcels collectively known as Page Park Corporate Park. Said parcels being identified as appendices 1 and 2 of the petition hereafter referred to as a site. Whereas Page Park is seeking to form Transportation Corporation to maintain and operate the common sewer and water services within the Page Park Corporate Park because the existing water and sewer districts will not operate or maintain the water or sewer mains between the parcels and associated appurtenances within the development of the site. And whereas a short EAFs were prepared by Page Park demonstrating that the formation of the Waterworks and Sewerworks Transportation Corporations to service the site would not result in any significant adverse environmental impact, particularly since the formation of Waterworks and Sewerworks Transportation Corporations would permit the continued maintenance and operation of the existing on-site sewer and water systems, and no changes to the physical operations or infrastructure are proposed. And whereas the town engineer has reviewed the petition along with the plans of the water and sewer works and has issued a letter dated August 21st, 2023, recommending that the town consent to the formation of Waterworks and Sewerworks Transportation Corporations, subject to Page Park posting a 5-year maintenance bond in the amount of $127,500 for the water facilities at the site. Now therefore be enacted, the town board, as the only agency with the jurisdiction over the petition for the consent to form Transportation Corporations, declares itself lead agency under seeker and hereby classifies this matter as an unlisted action and determines that the action would not result in any potential significant adverse environmental impacts, and therefore the attached negative declaration is issued. Be it further enacted, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie hereby grants its consent to the incorporation of the Page Park Waterworks and Sewerworks Transportation Corporations pursuant to New York State Transportation Corporation law, and authorizes the town supervisor to execute the annex consents to the appended to the certificates of incorporation of said Transportation Corporation, subject to Page Park first providing proof, posting a 5-year maintenance bond in the amount of $127,500 in favor of the town in the event the town must take over the water lines and the appurtenances thereto at the site. Be it further enacted, the town board directs the town superintendent of highways to, upon Page Park providing posting the aforementioned maintenance bond in favor of the town, execute the annexed consent for the formation of the Waterworks Corporation under the superintendent, unless the superintendent has objections thereto, in which case the superintendent should communicate the reasons for said objections to Page Park so that any objections may be addressed in a timely manner. So moved.
Mr. Supervisor, I received a call from David Cooper, who prepared this, and David points out that in the fourth whereas, where it says water facilities for the bond, it should actually be for the sewer facilities. And the same thing in the second, be it enacted, in the event that the town must take over the sewer lines. And so if you were to restate your reading that way and...
Just to take the waterworks out of both of those?
Yeah, just just change water to sewer on the last line of the fourth whereas, and water to sewer on the last line of or the second enacted up from the bottom.
Make that motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution 14. Whereas the Poughkeepsie Industrial Park LLC has petitioned the Town of Poughkeepsie Town Board for consent to form and file a transportation corporation, in parentheses, the corporation, to provide a sewer system for the receipt, collection, and transmission by pump and pipe lines of waste generated at its property located near the intersection of Victory Lane and Dutchess Turnpike in the Town of Poughkeepsie, to serve the real estate parcel within the Poughkeepsie Industrial Park. And whereas a short form.
Bill, we don't think you're reading the amended one.
There's the amended.
Okay. Whereas a short form EAF was prepared and submitted by the petitioner, and whereas the existing sewer district will not provide sewer collection and transportation services to several real estate parcels through private property within the industrial park, and whereas the operation of the sewer system will be subject to conditions attached hereto as Exhibit A, and whereas a privately owned collection system will provide services to the properties, and whereas a map entitled Proposed Sanitary Lift Station prepared by Day Stoska Engineering, PC, with a last revision date of August 16, 2023, has been provided showing the preliminary proposed new improvements and the 5 properties to be served, and is attached hereto as Exhibit B. Whereas the existing infrastructure is shown on a map dated April 18, 2021, prepared by Richard Hansback, New York State LS for Air Protection Packaging Corporation, and whereas the proposed corporation is to maintain and operate the common service lines, pump, and tank in the industrial park, now therefore be it resolved that the town board, having considered the petition and the facts issued presented, does not hereby determine that so extending wastewater utility services to the 5 properties to be served is an unlisted action under SEQA, and the Dutchess County Department of Behavioral Health are involved agencies, and that it will conduct a coordinated SEQA review for which the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie will seek to be lead agency. Be it further resolved that the supervisor or his designee is now authorized to execute a consent to the filing and formation of the corporation pursuant to Transportation Corporation Law, Section 116, in parentheses 1, and to thereafter, upon receipt of proof of completion of the conditions in Exhibit A attached hereto from the applicant in the form and substance acceptable to the supervisor, with such modifications as he may endorse after consultation with the town engineer, the town sewer department, and the attorney to the town, approve the operation of the corporation. So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. And this will eliminate a private sewer system that currently dumps into Loppingers Creek. They'll be going to Arlington now, which is a benefit to the town.
Whereas the town board has received an application from Burns Engineering Services, PC, for Beacon Residential LLC, requesting that the zoning for tax parcel number 61631952312800000, located at 297 Violet Avenue in the town of Poughkeepsie, consisting of approximately 0.445 acres, be changed from residence, single-family, R20 to residence, multifamily. And whereas the proposed zoning map amendment is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendment and does direct that said amendment be spread across the record as if it in fact had been read verbatim. And whereas the change of zone would involve 0.44 acres plus or minus 0.445 acres, and the action to amend the zoning map must be reviewed under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA. And whereas the town board has determined that the proposed amendment must be referred to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development and to the town planning board for review and recommendation. And whereas the town board has examined the secret regulations and has determined that the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Board, through its site plan review and approval authority under Chapter 210 of the Town of Poughkeepsie Code, has extremely broad governmental powers to investigate the potential environmental effects associated with the application, and has the experience and capability necessary to conduct a thorough environmental assessment of the action. And whereas amending the zoning map requires a public hearing. Now, therefore, be it resolved that number one, Town Board has determined that the action should be subject to coordinated review because the proposed use of the property will, among other permits and approvals, require site plan approval by the Town Planning Board. And therefore, the Town Board consents to the Planning Board acting as the lead agency to coordinate the environmental review of the proposed action pursuant to Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law. And two, the Town Board refers this matter to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for a recommendation pursuant to GML 239-M. And number three, the Town Board refers this matter to the Town Planning Board for an advisory report pursuant to the Town Code 210-154. And four, the Town Board hereby defers setting a public hearing on the proposed zoning map amendment until it has received a recommendation and a determination of significance pursuant to SECRA from the Planning Board as lead agency. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby acknowledge receipt of a request on behalf of Barbecue Corporation, 30 Eastdale Avenue, and Poughkeepsie, New York, for a waiver of a 30-day review period for a liquor license application. And be it further resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the Town Clerk's forwarding of a waiver and consent pursuant to the attached requests. So moved.
Second.
Get a motion second. Any questions?
I have a question. So it's a waiver of 30-day review period. And the notice that they sent to us says standardized notice for providing 30-day advance notice. It's dated August 17th. So wouldn't they be through that 30-day period on September 17th? Based on that? Like, why do we do these? The
We don't have to, correct?
Barber's not opening, I think, until 2024. Like, I don't, like,
A new application has to notify the town, and sometimes they need a waiver. I don't understand the waiver.
but like, why do we do this? Like,
Potential for an objection,
Yeah.
I think that may be.
no, I know, but we're waiving the 30-day notice. They sent it on August 17th. They're almost there anyway. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's
They're
really
not
necessary.
even, I don't think, close to open.
No, and they're not even.
Right.
No.
But if we, like, if they sent us this, we could just put it in the file and September 17th,
It'd be 30 days.
yeah, based on what it seems like I'm reading. Because we get these all the time and we approve them and sometimes.
Felicia, you called a few years ago, right? We really don't have to.
Oh,
let
well,
them go.
that was when we were doing every renewal. There's no need to do renewals. This is only new establishments, so we have cut back a little bit.
I mean, I think it's good to know when a new place is selling
Well,
liquor
the
in the
expiration
town.
date that they put is 11/30, so they have until November of next year, looks like.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's good that the town board's aware of new liquor licenses, because you can then take a look at if there's a potential issue with the site. But it almost seems like by the time this paperwork all gets processed, they would have it. they'd
I
be
do
through
also
that
think that it's
anyway.
been taking a lot longer for liquor licenses to go through, because I think there's a
They're
problem
way
with a new
behind.
place down the road that
The
doesn't have
state's,
their
the
shit.
state is way behind in about a
They're-
month
the
behind
state
and
is,
everything.
I don't want to say it on record, but
No, they are.
very behind on many things. And it's really hurting my office to get a birth certificate from them. as
Just my
April.
2 cents.
Yeah, no, we all agree. That's why Felicia took off the renewals, for that reason.
Are we done with A?
Hey, they were all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby acknowledge receipt of a request on behalf of Buns Burgers, 32 Eastdale Avenue, N, Poughkeepsie, New York, for a waiver of the 30-day review period for a liquor license application. And be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the town clerk's forwarding of a waiver and consent pursuant to the attached request. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved, the town board of town of Poughkeepsie does hereby declare the town to have vehicles and equipment to be in surplus, and does hereby authorize the sale of those surplus vehicles and equipment as shown in the annex memo from Auto Center Manager Brian Porter, and authorized to be sold by the supervisor or his designee at an online web auction conducted by Absolute Auction Center, 45 South Avenue, Pleasant Valley, New York, at their standard rates provided that a complete record of equipment and results of the auction be maintained. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Whereas the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie has received an application submitted by Hudson Valley Animal Rescue and Sanctuary, Inc. to hold a fall festival in at 15 Barnes Drive, Poughkeepsie, New York, on Sunday, October 1st, 2023, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And whereas the presence of food vendors is a vital part of a successful event, now therefore be resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does not include the vendors of food participating in the fall festival as peddlers and hawkers. These vendors are thereby exempt from the provision of Chapter 151 of the Town Code. Be it further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby approved the application as submitted for this event and is hereby waive all permit fees relating to the fall festival event pursuant to a request received by Celeste Wiltsey, copy of which is attached. So moved.
Second.
No motion second. Any questions?
No, this is a great festival. I just have to say, it's tons of fun and lots of things for the little kids to do. So, go out there and have some fun.
And I just want to mention that the food vendors isn't really a thing anymore, so we're not really waiving that because now, that was just for food trucks. And this one just kind of slipped through, so, just so you know.
I don't even know if there was much food there.
There is none actually
No.
on this application. I didn't actually look at this till just now, but.
Right, but
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Resolution 19. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the application submitted on behalf of Vassar College to hold the Braga 5K Run Walk on October 1st, 2023, starting at 9 a.m. on the Vassar College grounds. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the application for said Braga 5K Run Walk pending receipt by the town clerk of a certificate of liability insurance naming the Town of Poughkeepsie as an additional insured. So moved.
second.
We have a motion second. Any questions?
And I do have the insurance already. So.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to sign a stormwater management facility inspection and maintenance easement and agreement and any supporting recording documents in regard to the all-space self-storage facility expansion and substantially the form attached. And be it further resolved that such acceptance and authorization by the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie is subject to the approval of all final documents by the Town Attorney, Planning Board Attorney, Town Engineer, and the Director of Municipal Development for the Town of Poughkeepsie. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved, the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby provisionally appoint David Seymour to the position of Deputy Building Inspector with the Building Department at grade 10, step 1 salary, $32.7174 per hour, effective September 25th, 2023. And be it further resolved that the permanent employment is contingent upon completion of the civil service exam and achievement of reachable status. At said time, Mr. Seymour will begin his probationary period of no less than 8 and no more than 26 weeks per civil service law. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0, and this brings us back up to the full staff down in the building department.
Be resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint individuals to the approved town electrical inspectors list annexed here to as Exhibit A for terms ending December 31, 2023. So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Rich Wine to the position of auto mechanic with the auto department at a salary of $25.84 per hour, pending the results of Mr. Rich Wine's background investigation. And be further resolved, this appointment should be effective October 2nd, 2023, with a probationary period of no less than 8, no more than 26 weeks per civil service law. And be further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentations required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. 24 is a notice of claim, Hernandez versus the town. 25 Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items to wit: one, a notification, notice of claimant for illegal Fedorchenko versus the Town of Poughkeepsie, and be it further resolved that upon objection of any member of the Town Board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Is there a motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. And SC1 is just a notice of claim.
Yep.
At this point, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item and ask anybody that speaks to please keep it at 3 minutes. All in favor?
How do we, I'm sorry, how do we do this for people on Zoom? Is there a queue?
Hold on 1 second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. If anybody would like to speak, now is your turn. You had somebody on there.
Yes, I'm sorry for cutting in before you,
That's right, go
passed
ahead.
your vote.
Go ahead.
I had a couple quick questions, and so I agreed my assessment this year, and I followed all your rules and everything, and it was denied. And then I went into the form I received back and just said insufficient documentation, which I don't understand since I gave them everything. They also said I submitted it twice, which is not true. So question one is this: the assessment review board, is that appointed by the town board?
Correct.
Okay, is this board, does the assessor have to take the grievance board's decision, or can she use her own discretion?
To the best of my knowledge, she has to take their decision.
Okay, so that means they are an official agency of the town, correct?
They're not an agency of the town. I believe they're considered a subordinate board of the town.
So would they be subject to New York State open meetings law?
Be happy to take a look and advise the supervisor, and maybe you could speak with him tomorrow.
Don't they meet here
Okay,
at
because
town hall?
that was the key point with them at the Committee for Open Government. If the assessor has to take their decision, then they are subject to that. Now, which means, all these decisions have to be down in some sort of minutes, and there's none. I can't get an answer as to what sort of documentation I am missing. It's kind of hard to grieve your assessment if they're not telling you, okay, you didn't follow the rules, or well, what documentation am I missing?
Did you?
I had everything there. I had my reasoning. I had my rationale written out, and I had an Excel form that showed what I figured my proper assessment was. It's kind of hard to, I don't know what else do I need.
Comps?
Did you put any comparable properties to yours?
I put the comparisons in there. Yes, I did.
Doesn't sound quite right, because I've also fought mine before, and I think I did mine on Zoom one day, and I think other people could have been on it as well. So
The meeting itself is open. I mean, we had it open Zoom here, but I think his question is.
This was an in-person meeting.
Yeah, his question, I think if I'm correct, is that the decision was vague when they gave him an answer. It just said not enough information. He's trying to get what is not enough information.
Well, that's one. The other thing is, since they are probably subject to open meetings law, there's absolutely no record. So there's no record of the vote. There's nothing, just a letter to the assessors or saying denied. How do I know? They just say, all right, the hell with them all. Let's just vote no and get the hell out of here. That's the other issue I have.
It's difficult for the board to address this because they don't have the file in front of it.
I can send it over. I have it on my phone. I can email it right now.
Maybe the supervisor.
Or I can come to the next meeting. It's all well and good.
You can send over whatever you have and send it to us, and I will discuss with the town attorney in the morning the process and try and find out more information, because when you did call, I sent you down to the assessor, figuring they would point you in the right direction.
And
Yes,
I'm pretty
and
sure after
I
that
gotta
happens,
say-
they could do a small claims if they weren't happy.
Yeah.
That's the way,
Yeah,
that's the
but
way it works.
the thing was, the thing about that was, I was out of the country when I received the letter back, so that by the time I got back, it had passed. But the point is, I need to know the background of all this. And let me take the opportunity to say that Felicia Salvatore, excuse me if I give your name wrong, town clerk, was incredibly, incredibly helpful. And so she should be commended on this. Okay, she's fantastic. Don't lose her. But, how am I to understand the process when no one is willing to walk me through the process? And that includes the town assessor.
Well, why don't you send the supervisor what you have and let him take a look at it. He can pass it along to us as well, and we'll try to get some answers for you, okay?
I'll meet with the town attorney, before the weekend, and I will definitely meet with you personally next week so we can go over the process once we figure out exactly how they meet, what their process is, when they're downstairs. Because best I know is when they have their Board of Assessment, your grievance period, you come in here, it was open to the public, they come in, people spoke, but where it goes after that, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know exactly what the process and how the meeting process is, so I'd like to find out before I say something that's not true.
Right, I understand. Okay, I will get it over to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a good night.
You too, ma'am.
Thank you.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mela. I'm from Mount Hope Chinese Association. Let me put my alarm for 3 minutes. I'm very happy to be here, and could you? I have some small pamphlets to explain why I'm here. First of all, Poughkeepsie is not a strange place for me. I drove about a year. I was every other weekend nursing supervisor in the Pines, Poughkeepsie. I signed up because the governor asked us to volunteer. We had a shortage. So I feel like this is very familiar for me. So thank you for hearing me out. I'm the head of the Mount Hope Chinese Association that we formed within about less than 2 years. And we have done a series of Wake Up to the CCP Threat seminar, very successful. They're pretty much all in Orange County. And now we're coming to Poughkeepsie. We're actually invited. There's a venue, there's someone that reached out to us through a friend of a friend. So we have an event that will be held September 21st, Thursday, from 7 to 9 p.m. in that Faith Christian Academy, I believe is a gathering place. Once you get there, you'll know it's the same address. We are a nonprofit organization. We have a panel of experts talking about the issue of the Chinese Communist Party infiltration in the United States. And we have had very successful seminars. We had it in Mount Hope, and we had it in Warwick, and we had it Deer Park and Middletown. We had all the officials coming there to speak. The Orange County executive, he came when we were in Warwick. He really supported us on this issue. And we had very big turnouts from over 150, around 150 to like 300. And we always have live streaming. So sometimes we have like 10,000 people watching. So the issue with Chinese Communist Party infiltration is very real. When we had our first seminar, last year, July the 20th. For the seminar right before, we actually received a death threat. And we're going to play the death threat in the seminar. It's a very real threat that's interfering with our American way of life. So we are here and we want to share what we know. And we are raising awareness, bringing to the town of Poughkeepsie, to the residents here. And we welcome also the board members to share the information. I think it's the duty of all of the officials and also the residents to pay attention. I have a Chinese background. I'm an American citizen now. And I know when there is a threat. I know how it is real, and that's why I'm doing this. And then on the same note, I think my time is up. We also have a cultural event because Mount Hope Chinese Association is not just for countering the CCP threat. We want to share the traditional Chinese culture. If you are interested, drive 1 hour, you will be amazed. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Doreen?
Okay, thanks, Jay. Yeah, this is something I've brought to Mike Welty's attention. You were talking earlier about the South Hills Mall, and some of these malls, I don't believe, are following their landscaping plan. And Mike's going to check into it, but there's multiple dead trees at the Hudson Plaza Mall. There's at least 7, maybe a couple of more, but you know, trees provide shade. They help to combat the heat island effect in parking lots. They help with noise, they purify air, and just make the parking lots look a lot better. And right now, the Hudson Plaza is just having dead trees, totally dead. Some of them are cut off, just sticks left, and it's just really not attractive. And according to town code, all required landscaping shall be maintained for the life of the site. So I'd like to make sure that their landscaping plan is being followed, as well as plans like at the South Hills Mall. So it just would provide a lot of benefit. That's it.
Doreen, I did see your email today, and I saw Mike's answer, and I see exactly where they are. I was by there this afternoon. It seems they're all along the road, whether it was a salt issue, but the town trees that are in the middle are thriving. So I know he's gonna be reaching out to them to try to get them replanted along the bed, because either that or they were diseased, because they're all in the same row. There's like 7 or 8 of them just about in the row
and
there.
there's another batch in front of like Duchess Dialysis, and like from there down to the liquor store. So it's actually in a couple of places, but you know, again, it all depends on what their landscaping plan is. But yeah, it would be good if they could be replaced, and not just their, you know, other businesses too. So. All right, thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Doreen. Is there anybody else? If not, a motion to resume rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Ranahan?
Be resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following: discussions regarding proposed pending or current litigation, Department of Labor, to discuss matters which are exempt under open meeting laws, including matters subject to attorney-client privilege, and be it further resolved that no action appropriating money will be taken. So moved.
Second.
We got a motion second. Any further questions then? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Town board goes in executive session, 8:28 PM. Thank you. I just want to remind everybody, next weekend, Arlington Street Fair. Please come out. The town will have representations. A lot of our other groups will also have representation there.